Let us continue forward to Section 6, Whales. Part 1. How long until we get to Wales? Well, we're taking the scenic route instead of the main road so as not to stand out. So at this pace, I'll say we'll get there tonight, as long as we don't run into any trouble.
Is something wrong, Artoria? You've been strangely quiet for a while. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to make Gouda nervous, but I've been getting a really bad feeling like someone's been watching us all this time. I also get the feeling the carriage is going to flip over in about 5 seconds.
Don't be silly. I'm Red Rabbit, the most elegant wind-like fey horse around. I would never let a carriage I was drawing tip over, especially with passengers inside. What the? What is it? Are we under attack? Everyone, get out of the carriage. Hang on, we ain't under attack. The carriage just ran over something is all. What happened, Red Horse? Are the roads that bad out here? No, it's just... I'm sorry, I was just writing a poem while gazing up at the sky. And I didn't notice the large number of ferries collapsed on the road until it was too late. This is incredible. It's awful. It's incrawful. There are 1, 2, 3, 6 of them blocking our way. We're alive. We're still alive. Please. Help us. Our cargo just began acting up and attacked us out of nowhere. Hi-ho. We're not hurt too badly. In fact, we probably look completely fine. But the cargo took one of us away down past the hill to that isolated cave no one would ever see unless they were looking for it. Please, you've got to save him. You nice suckers, I mean, people wouldn't turn your backs on a fairy in need, right? Oh yeah, not suspicious at all.
That hill over there? Got it. Come on, everyone, we need to hurry before it's too late. Wait, seriously? There's a fine line between being nice and being gullible, you know?
You know, I'm actually kinda impressed you managed to survive this long. Keep an eye on those ferries, Oberon. No problem. Good luck over there. Hi-ho! I don't know what I would have done if you guys hadn't come along. That's the last time I go shopping in Gloucester. I should have known that bargain set was too good to be true. You mean he actually was in trouble?
I guess so. Now I feel bad for not giving those fairies a fair shake, no matter how suspect they seemed at first. Are you alright? There aren't any other fairies who were taken away, are there?
Nope, it's just the 7 of us. No 8th fairy around here. I gotta say though, you guys sure are strong. And by you guys, I mean the redhead. You, on the other hand, were crazy out there in a whole different sense of the word, lady. You were throwing out so many explosions, I thought you were going to blow me up along with our escort. Next time, you ought to take a page from the young Mrs. playbook. She threw a bunch of stuff at the cargo too, but she never hit me once. Going wild's all well and good, but you've got to be aware of your surroundings too, especially when there's a hostage involved. Anyone else would be sicking a lawyer on you right about now, you know.
I know. You're right. I'm doing my best to overcome my clumsiness, so I hope you can be patient while I work to improve.
You bet. I'm rooting for you, lady. At least you've got guts, and that counts for a lot.
So, if you're feeling all right now, would you mind if we get going? Oh no, it's okay. No need to thank us. Seems like it'd be way more trouble than it's worth.
You sure? Well, now that I made you help us out, I thought I'd take it easy by sticking with you guys the rest of the way. But alright. Besides, we gotta head home and report to the boss that we're done taking out the trash. Ugh, and here I thought we could rely on those escorts we bought. Thank goodness you guys came along to help us out. Thanks, gullible-looking lady.
You were taking out the trash? You mean to Camelot's pit? I thought soldiers were supposed to be escorts for that, since more tend to show up near the pit.
We would have gone with soldiers, but they say they don't have time for escort missions these days. That's why we got escorts from a beautiful lady in Gloucester instead. She said we could have them cheap since we couldn't get the fine-tuning right. Koyanskaya. So she sold them junk she knew was worthless, huh? That fox woman sure is a piece of work. Luckily, no more showed up near the pit. Guess they're all gathered around Norwich now. Man, sometimes I really worry what's gonna happen to Fairy Britain. Between Gawain, the Fang clan's biggest troublemaker, and Tristan, the Queen's pet psycho. The only decent Tamlin of the bunch is Lady Lancelot. Maybe I should make a break for the north. Nah, what am I saying? I could never do that. We're the 7 merry brothers, Lady Aurora's faithful servants. Yes, the 7 dwarven brothers. Hi-ho, it's back to work we go. Thanks again for everything, you guys. Hi-ho. You watch out for the more too, you hear? I see. Humu. For the record, it's not my fault we didn't get there today. It's all on Artoria for dragging us into yet another rescue. You do all understand that, right? Also, do you naturally attract trouble, Gouda? Are you just unlucky like that? Well, now that you mention it, maybe a little. This did help me get my bearings in terms of using my blade and all. Fairy Britain isn't like the other Lostbelts I've seen so far. Finally figured out how tough my blade needs to be. Your magecraft ain't had bad either, Artoria. I got no idea why fairies here say your skills ain't worth much, but I do know they're a great fit for me. My scabbard's feeling smoother than ever with you around. Glad you're on my side.
Thank you. Same here. I see. Unlike fairy soldiers, Muramasa doesn't just use his own magical energy to fight. He also uses external enchantments as naturally as though they were part of his own body.
True, Muramasa's fighting skills are definitely a cut above the rest. You said he's an alter ego, right? Does that mean he's not a pure servant?
Well, is it okay if we tell this story, Muramasa?
Sure, go ahead. Now's as good a time as any, Gouda. Besides, I don't need anyone coming to me later complaining about how I was secretly a bad guy all along, or how could I betray their trust, yada yada. Well, it's a long story, but here goes.
So, he's a servant mixture this foreign god made. And he's actually been fighting against Gouda and Kaldi up until now. Basically, especially in Olympus when he pulled off something really crazy right at the end. In fact, Muramasa, that reminds me, you were strong enough to cut Atlas's spirit origin in half. And yet you failed to assassinate Queen Morgan and some other fairy handed your ass to you. Can you explain to me how that works? Because I don't get it.
Nothing special to it. I'm just an alter ego who's optimized for killing gods. And that's only because the foreign god imbued me with divine spirits who are good at that sort of thing. Apparently, one of them's a blind god of war who was responsible for Ragnarok, the twilight of the gods. The other is, well, kind of a wish fulfillment of mine. Don't ask. My point is, I'm not exceptionally strong or anything. I just don't have to use magical energy to kill gods. So Olympus was perfect for me. And Scandinavia, well, Scandinavia would have been rough. You can figure out why. Skaha Skadi, I think she was called. If this alter ego version of me had met her, I might have flown into a genuine rage. I know the blind god of war would have had words to say about her of all gods being fooled. Anyway, there you have it. I'm pretty useful when I'm up against divine spirits, or in worlds where divine spirits are calling the shots. So if you're strong against gods, that must also mean...
Now I see. I got the feeling this was the case, but you just helped me clarify it, Muramasa. The land of the Fae has no concept of religion, which means...
Yep, there are no gods in Britain. Though I got no idea how this world ended up like that. It's damn peculiar. The whole world's ruled by fairies, but there ain't a trace of gods, the greatest mystics ever anywhere. Well, that only makes sense, don't you think? I mean, it's only humans who desire gods. Fairies can do anything they want on their own, so they don't have to rely on a higher power for help. So of course their society isn't going to think up gods.
You know, that is a good point. I'll have to write all this down later in my next message to Claudia. I wonder what Holmes is gonna have to say about it. I, don't know much about these god things either, so I can't speak to that. But you are still good as enemy, right? I'm glad you're here helping us now, but, are you really comfortable working alongside your enemy?
You don't gotta worry about that, Artoria. It's like I told you back in Gloucester. Now that you've saved me, I'm gonna stick with you. I'm gonna stick with you, Child of Prophecy. It's easier for me that way. I ain't usually one to find fault with my own work, but at least this one's a job I can finally get behind. So you're not fully on board with the foreign gods job, then? Are you freaking kidding me? Hell no. Damn thing's a pain in the ass. Even now, I still have no idea what the hell the foreign god even is. She just summoned me without asking, mixed some divine spirits into me without asking, and forced a bunch of work I never asked to be a part of on me. I've always been a maker of weapons, so I know my hands weren't the cleanest to begin with. But at least when I was alive, I could swear to the Buddha I never went down the wrong path. Of course, now that I've got some other things mixed in with me, I don't have a right or wrong path anymore. So, if nothing else, I'm gonna make sure I do good work on any job I take on. It's the least I can do as Muramasa. That's very you. Then does that mean you've taken on the job of helping Artoria now? Ain't that what I just said? What are you grinning about? You're more mean-spirited than I would have guessed.
I see. In that case, we'll be happy to work with you. We could use all the help we can get right now, especially from a heroic spirit we're already acquainted with. Once again, even if it's only in this Lostbelt, I'm glad we're on the same side, Senji Muramasa.
Yeah, thanks. Since I'm setting the price for this job myself, I'll be helping out any way I can. Anyway, on a different note. I don't really want to ask this, but as much as I disliked the guy, he was still a colleague, so... How did Limbo's final moments go? He went out like a bitch. I see. Alright, I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that and just go to bed.
Is anyone awake? They're not, are they? No, they're all sleeping soundly. I'll take that as a good sign. I'm pretty sleepy too, but I have to stand guard. No shady-looking things nearby, check. No more nearby, check. Don't you worry, everyone. I'll make sure Artoria stays safe.
We're here! Welcome to my domain, the Autumn Wood of Wales. I can see where it gets its name, warm-colored leaves everywhere.
It's Lord Oberon! Everyone, come quick! Lord Oberon has returned! Please, Lord Oberon, please tell us about what you saw outside.
Thank you for the warm welcome, everyone. As you can see, I've brought guests with me today. This is Gouda. He watches over things just like I do. This is Da Vinci, the cutest genius you'll ever see. This is Muramasa, who probably will be kind enough to make us all sorts of useful things. And this is Artoria, the Child of Prophecy. See? I told you the Child of Prophecy would be willing to come all the way to the isolated neck of the woods. Now, do you believe I was telling the truth?
What do I do, Oberon?
You don't have to do anything. They're just glad you're here. Oh, but don't try to hug them, no matter how cute they are. They're not used to being touched, especially by outside fairies.
These fairies are straight out of a picture book. Now this is what I imagine the land of fairies would be like.
Come on, fairies are fairies, right? I don't see anything special about.
Please, please make me a helmet. I want to be a soldier, a soldier.
Well, I guess they're a little different. I can't tell what it's saying, but... What is it, little guy? You want a helmet that fits you? Yeah, alright. Anything made for humans obviously won't fit you at all, so... Hey, Oberon, mind if I set up a workbench somewhere? Oh, be my guest. Oh, but just stick to leaves and twigs for your materials if you don't mind. They don't actually want to be soldiers, they just want to play pretend. Got it, don't worry. I ain't gonna make anything real.
What about you? Who are you? Are you Oberon's friend? A real friend? Then that makes us. You are friends too. Please help him. Please help Oberon.
Whoa, I can tell they're friendly, but that's about all I got. They're welcoming all of you here. None of the fairies who end up in these woods understand suspicion. There are no imitations of human society here, but we can at least put you up in tents. Why don't you all kick back and relax while I go see what's happening outside? I'm counting on all of you to take care of our guests, okay? Don't worry, these people are all very nice. None of them are going to hurt you. Okay, everyone, ta-ta for now. I'll be back tonight, so make sure to save some dinner for me.
Hang on, Oberon. At least tell us how we can understand what they're saying. And he's gone. I mean, at least we can tell these fairies are being welcoming to us, but...
Indeed. I have no idea what these Welsh fairies are saying either. I also noticed Lord Oberon didn't bother to introduce me. That hurts, honestly. I wonder why. Is he just absent-minded? I'm, sure it just slipped his mind.
Are you hungry? Are you hungry? If you're like Lord Oberon, you must get hungry too, right? We'll feed you. We'll feed you. Welsh chestnuts are yummy, yummy. They say they're going to feed us, and with chestnuts no less. That's amazing! Talk about a forbidden treat. You can almost never find sweets in the South thanks to the restrictions, but here we have a loophole.
Restrictions?
Oh yeah, Mike said that only upper-class fairies have access to confectionaries. Apparently the Queen forbade accessing fruits and such, so sugar is hard to come by here.
Lady Aurora once gave me a bite of some kind of dark-colored bar. But honestly, I prefer carrots. They have much more natural sweetness.
This way, this way! Tell us about Oberon! Tell us about Oberon! Looks like the dining table is over that way. I still can't tell what they're saying, but if they're going to treat us, who are we to say no?
Sounds good to me. I haven't had a treat in a long time.
That meal was delicious.
What she said.
It sure was. Those are the most gorgeous grapes I've ever seen by far. And not only that, these fruits even have mystics in them. That was a great way for servants to recover magical energy. Maybe I should take a few with us for the road. Or send some to Holmes as a souvenir.
Eating pears in a single bite. There's still an extra plate left out. Is that for Oberon? Should we leave it for him?
They're here! The black dogs are here! Run! Hide! You snooze, you lose! Eh? That's weird. Why'd they all run up trees and hide in hollows all of a sudden?
I see some black dogs over there. So they're probably trying to hide.
Oh my gosh! Come on, we have to get rid of them! It's the least we can do to pay them back for their feast.
I was just thinking the same thing. The black dogs are terrifying, but these poor fairies have no way of fighting back. Well, we're not gonna let anything happen to them now that we're here. Come on, everyone! Let's show these dogs they're no match for a hare! Is this one of those human history convergence things?
What was that incredibly powerful enemy doing mixed in with the black dogs?
Probably just some fairy they bit who went mad from the excruciating pain. Are those different from the Moor? Yeah. Fairies become Moor when they lose their purpose and shine. That is, when their lives become meaningless. And when they're infected with meaninglessness by touching other Moor. But fairies who become so focused on their purpose that they lose sight of themselves produce endless magical energy, to the point they're no longer able to maintain forms. I guess you could say they're fairies gone bad.
And that's what happened to those fairies in the Nameless Woods. They were so happy to have a human that they couldn't keep their desires in check anymore, and ended up killing their own friends. They did it! They won! Bordagon! Bordagon! Oberon's gonna be so sad. Oberon's gonna be so happy. He has good friends now. Well, if the fairies are happy, we must have done a good thing driving those creatures away. Alright, since it looks like we're gonna be staying here for at least a few days, why don't we set up camp? Especially since there's no point in worrying about what's going on outside now that we're here. So let's just relax and recuperate while we wait for Oberon to get back.
After dinner.
You know, there's something I've been wondering about for a while now. How do fairy families work? I saw plenty of siblings in Salisbury, but I didn't see anyone who looked like parent and child.
Well, of course you didn't. Fairies come into existence independently of anyone else. The only siblings we have are when multiple fairies with similar attributes decide to call each other that. Or when they've all decided to stick together from the time they manifest, like the 7 fairies we saw yesterday. That's just how fairies live their lives.
Okay, then what about children? They say Tamlin Tristan is supposed to be Morgan's daughter, right? So how does that work?
Tristan Morgan's daughter? Good one. No, that just means she's the queen's successor. I guess in human terms, we'd say that Queen Morgan adopted Tristan. The only children in the fairy world are the next versions of you born after you die.
Let's see. Okay, for example, let's say we have Spinner Fairy A here. Spinner Fairy A lives for 100 years, then goes to sleep having fulfilled their purpose. But that doesn't mean the spinner profession or that fairy's way of life disappear from Britain. So right after Spinner Fairy A dies, Spinner Fairy B is born. Fairies refer to this relationship as predecessor and current generation. I see. So does this current generation inherit anything from their predecessor? Things like genes, lineage, records, names, or some other kind of property a human would pass on to their kids? Not really. Like I said, fairies are born on their own, so they don't have any connections like that. That goes for predecessors and current generation fairies too. Powerful fairies can hold on to their records. Memories may be better here, but in general, the next generation is a completely blank slate. However, since the current generation has the same role, their abilities and appearance do resemble their predecessors to some extent. That's how the Spinner Fairy knows they're a Spinner Fairy no matter where or when they're born. There are also times when a fairy who resembles the current generation is born while the current generation is still alive. It is rare, but when it does happen, the new fairies are treated as the current generation's son or daughter. That is also why fairies who use magecraft are sometimes referred to as Morgan's daughters. Here in Britain, Queen Morgan used to be the only one who used magecraft. But now we have Tristan, who was given magecraft and named her successor, and Artoria, who was born using it. From the fairies' perspective, both are the same type as the queen, hence Morgan's daughters. I see, so that's why the Tamlin hates the Child of Prophecy so much. Because the rumor is that I'm Queen Morgan's daughter. Not exactly, Artoria. I'm not using magecraft that makes you Morgan's daughter. It's that fairies who use magecraft can become Fairy Britain's king. At least I think so. That's the whole reason Morgan gave Tristan magecraft. It's her way of saying, you will be the next king, rule over Britain as you see fit. I expect that was her way of trying to derail the prophecy to make sure the Child of Prophecy wouldn't take her throne. But then you and your natural magecraft show up, and now Morgan, or rather Tristan, is all, what's the real one doing here? That's probably why she went to pieces at the auction house. She just couldn't handle the terror. You think so? I didn't think I was scaring her that much. I do, yes. Anyway, a confrontation with Tristan is pretty much inevitable. But don't worry, just relax and take it one step at a time. The fact that you can use magecraft proves that you are the Child of Prophecy, and that you're destined to defeat the Queen. No matter how powerful Morgan may be, or how formidable the Tamlin are, as long as you're the Child of Prophecy, you'll be Britain's savior. Just do what needs to be done and the prophecy will be fulfilled. We're just here to help you. As long as you're around, Britain can, and more importantly, will be saved. Even if some of us end up dropping out along the way.
It's no use, I can't sleep.
Too much on your mind to sleep? Well, there's no need to stand. Here, have a seat. I saw you when I was heading out to gather intel. Mind if I sit next to you? Great, don't mind if I do then. Say, here's an idea. Maybe you'd feel better if you told me your story so far. I'm sure you have a lot to say about everything you've seen and done before you came here. And that was the 700th time I almost died.
I see. So that's the journey you, Caldia, has been on. Earth's future, humanity's existence, your survivor's guild over the other Lostbelts you've been to. No wonder you can't sleep, especially given what you told me earlier. You're feeling guilty about the Child of Prophecy. Or maybe it's not guilt so much as alienation. Artoria is about to spill a lot of blood, but that has nothing to do with you. That's been your role up till now, and you've kept fighting even when it was hard. But you never had a choice, did you? Responsibility for it all rested entirely on your shoulders. Not here, though. Here you have to put it all on Artoria's shoulders. And now you don't know what to do with these feelings. You might even be feeling like a coward here, since you can't forget that you have no intention of saving Fairy Britain. You may be right. You're more concerned about finding your lost companion. If something happened to Mash, you could never forgive yourself, right? Surprised I can tell that. You're trying not to let it show, of course, but I can still see. But look at it this way. Let's say, hypothetically, Mash were to go into town alone and die in an accident. Would that be your fault? Is keeping her safe from all harm all the time your responsibility 24/7? No, of course not. That's not concern for a friend, that's more of a savior complex. Mash is her own person, and people are responsible for their own lives and choices. If you really respect her as an equal, then you should be trusting her, not worrying about her. Piling more responsibility on your shoulders isn't going to help anyone. Especially if you're so weighed down you can't act quickly when you really need to. Still, based on what you've told me of your journey so far, it sounds like your heart doesn't have anywhere else left to go. I'm pretty sure you used to be a lot lighter on your feet. The kind of person who lived his life how he wanted. Am I wrong? What do you mean? Well, I can tell what I don't mean. I don't mean just doing whatever's easiest. I'd say living life how you like means finding what suits you. Finding what it is you want more than anything. And fighting for it as hard as you can, come what may. That's how you were during the incineration of humanity. Not that I was there to witness it, obviously. My point is, you and I are a lot alike. I'm guessing we both have the same role to play here in Britain. We're bystanders. As much as we hate it, you are no more the protagonist of this story than I am. Just like Oberon the Fairy King wasn't the protagonist of A Midsummer Night's Dream. All we can do here is watch to see how things play out. Even in battle, we can't do anything more than offer support from the rear. But that doesn't mean you need to beat yourself up. At some point before this all ends, there will come a moment you have a crucial role to play. A time when no one else is around, and you'll have a chance to change how everything unfolds. Sounds great, doesn't it? So for now, I suggest you swallow that worry, get some rest, and look forward to what's yet to come. So what if you're just a bystander? Even spectators have their pride after all. So bide your time, wait for your moment, and do something spectacular at the very end that not even the gods could have seen coming. Just imagine how good it's gonna feel when you finally wipe the smirk off the smug face of fate itself. I don't know what that even means, but it's very you, Oberon. Thanks for cheering me up. What's so strange about it? That's how I've lived my whole life. Gouda, there aren't many people out there who can explain everything about themselves. It's not like we're predictable tools with instruction manuals. We're living analog creatures, fuzzy around the edges. That said, everyone has at least one thing they like about themselves, right? It's kind of embarrassing to say this out loud, but at least in this example, I don't think I'm a coward. And of course you aren't either. Oh, sorry about that, Blanca. I hadn't realized I'd been talking so long. Let's go look for intel in Manchester tonight. It's about time we started investigating up north. All right, I'd better get going then. I'll see you tomorrow night. I don't want to be the only one left out of the dinner fun after all. Wait. What is it you want, Oberon? To defeat Morgan, of course. I might not be a fighter myself, but that is why I was summoned here. Huh? You're not talking about the for humanity's sake or anything? Oh, now I see. Well, damn, this is kind of embarrassing, but I guess I can't dodge the question after the big speech I just gave. I'm looking for Titania. Remember, Oberon's queen from A Midsummer Night's Dream. Titania, the fairy queen. The only one that ever loved obstinate Oberon. I'm hoping to see her, if I can. Though, of course, I know that's impossible. Titania's a fictional character. She doesn't exist in proper human history. She can only ever exist within the confines of a story.
Ow, ouch, ouch, ouch. Ugh. This was supposed to be a light practice bout, Muramasa. Why are you taking it so seriously? Are you a child or something?
No, I'm an old man. It's my job to make sure youngsters like you get a proper education at the School of Hard Knocks. That doesn't go for Gouda, though. He seemed like he's had more than his share of hardship. I gotta admit, Gouda, those quick combat summons of yours are really something. Makes me think I'd be better off keeping you safe instead of mixing it up myself. If you play your cards right, you might even be able to beat the Tam Lin.
You really think so, Grandpa?
You bet. If you throw all your servants and magical energy you've got at them, you can definitely take them. You said one of them trounced you before. The next time, it'll be your turn. Just make sure you got a good victory line locked and loaded. Something like, I ain't afraid of no Tam Lin.
Your weapons are made of iron, right, Muramasa? Could you let me have some of the material?
Sorry, but I'm the only one who can work that. It's basically an advance I'm paying for with magical energy. If you want to use them for yourself, I'd have to make something for you from scratch. And that means we'd have to get some iron from a mine. I think it was Norwich that controls the iron supply around here, right?
I see. Then I guess I'll just have to track some down somewhere. And after I came up with a plan to defeat Gawain, too.
Oh? Am I seeing a mean streak in those eyes, girlie? If you got something devious in mind, I'm game to help.
No thank you. You just keep laughing it up with Gouda and leave me alone, old-timer. Looks like someone's going through her rebellious phase. Or maybe she's just like that.
I'm guessing she's actually just really competitive.
No, I'm not. I'm just being the child of prophecy. If there's no getting around that, then I might as well start taking it seriously. Start taking it seriously? Come on, you've always been taking it seriously. No one here's ever thought otherwise. Oh, I see. You're worried about what Oberon said about you having to confront that Tam Lin eventually. I mean, that's definitely part of it, but I just figured I can't sit on the fence forever. The whole idea of making a pilgrimage around Britain and ringing the bells still doesn't quite feel real to me. But the fairies we've met so far, including the ones in Gloucester, all had such high hopes for me. And of course, my whole village of Tintagel believed in me enough to raise me and send me out on this pilgrimage in the first place. I'm so worried I might not be able to live up to everyone's expectations. But I thought for the time being I could at least try being proud of being the child of prophecy. Like they say, nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? I mean, I still don't have any specific ventures in mind, but...
You know, girlie, for the life of me, I can't tell if you're full of spirit or a shrinking violet. Yeah, you're right.
Gouda?
I made up my mind, Artoria. I'm going to help you no matter what Claudia has to say.
But what about Mash? I thought we were only traveling together until we found Mash.
Of course, we're still going to look for Mash. I'm not stopping till I find her. I just want to help the Child of Prophecy on top of that.
Good point, Gouda. We haven't made our position very clear, have we? Finding Mash is definitely our top priority, but that doesn't mean we can just leave Britain to fend for itself. So we want to keep traveling with you, not just so that we can find Mash, but so that we can help Britain too. Now that we've made friends here, we want to do everything we can to help them so we can go back to our own homes with no regrets. Does that about sum it up, Gouda?
Sure does. I just hope Director Gordolf's okay with it. Actually, I'm sure he won't be happy about this, but
Sounds good to me, and I'm sure old Gordy would give in eventually if he was here too. So it's not just Muramasa anymore. You're saying you and Da Vinci are going to join me on my pilgrimage too, Gouda? Yep, and I'm sure that Oberon would say the same thing. Don't worry, we expect to be generously compensated once we've all saved the day. So how does that sound, future king? Of course, if you'd rather not have us hanging around, we can always go our separate ways. No, not at all. This is great. I never dreamed that I would ever have this kind of help. I guess this is the Child of Prophecy's first proper alliance. Now I'm kind of starting to feel like a king. Yay!
well, you really are a king, so... Of course, none of this changes the fact that we still don't have any kind of plan. It's great that you're feeling motivated about being the Child of Prophecy now and all, but what do we actually do about it?
Way to bring me crashing back down to reality. Couldn't you let me happy just for a little while, Muramasa? Oh, that's your entire problem right there.
Well, as the resident old man here, I kind of have to be a party pooper, right? I heard the whole thing and I think I have an idea. That voice! It's Oberon!
It's a little earlier than I'd planned, but the time is clearly right. I will tell you where the Child of Prophecy and you, her companions, need to go next. The crossroads of destiny where the Child of Prophecy's rumors shall become reality. That's right. It's time for us to go save Norwich. I can hear him, but I can't see him. Is that really you, Oberon? Huh? What do you mean you can't see me? Oh, right, of course. Down here, everyone. Whew, flying long distances sure takes a lot out of you, but there's no substitute for seeing things for yourself. Oh right, you guys haven't seen me like this before, have you? I'm the stylish little speedster who races around Britain on a Sphinx moth at Mach speed. That's right, I'm Ryder Oberon, sometimes known as Robin Goodfellow, and the pint-sized Fairy King. How did you get so small?